So the Center for Equity and Inclusion is on a mission for change.
Yeah, they help teach people about systemic racism and how they can address it in their communities and their workplaces. Joining us live is the CEO and co-founder of the Center for Equity and Inclusion, Hanif Fazal. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Thanks for being back on with us. So this has been such a big discussion,
Yeah.
especially over the past month or so. What are some things outside of policing that need attention as people really push for change?
Well, I mean, look, if you look across every institution, if you were to look within any social indicator that you could name, you would find, and you will find, a very deep-seated and persistent racial disparity. So whether we're talking about education gaps or whether we're talking about healthcare access, whether we're talking about environmental impacts or whether we're talking about economic wealth gaps, across the board, people of color are having a disparate experience to that of their white counterparts. And what we know about these disparities are that they're not a matter of individual choice making or a lack of personal responsibility or effort. Rather, they're held in place by long-standing structures and deep-seated cultural beliefs, narratives, and attitudes that are built into our organizational policies and practice, our institutional cultures. So if we're really going to pay, what we need to pay attention, in other words, is all of it. And in particular, if we're really going to address the disparities or the disparate experiences that at the root of all of this, I think initially we're going to need to do at least three things out of the gate. One is a deep-seated commitment to racial equity in everything we do within our organizational institutional spaces. So in other words, within every policy, within every organizational decision, within every individual organizational choice point, we need to be in an investigation around how these policies, how these practices, how these choices are advancing racial equity or perpetuating the status quo. In order to be able to do that too, we need to be able then to create common language and common framework that help us identify collectively what we're actually talking about, identify what systemic racism is, how it's at play, and pathways forward. So in other words, we can't really talk about systemic racism or the root cause of what's at all of this if we don't actually know what systemic racism is or how it's operating in our spaces. We can't really talk about equity and inclusion if I could line up 10 people and get 10 different answers around what equity and inclusion actually means. And so we need common language and common framework so that we can collectively be able to identify what is at the root here and how do we begin to shift our behaviors. And then finally, if we're really going to disrupt the status quo, if we're really going to disrupt the disparate experiences that are cause of all of this, then what we're going to need to be able to do is move from just conversations where we're able to identify systemic racism or understand what equity means and translate that into shifts in organizational policies, shifts in individual choice making, shifts in organizational behaviors that are driven by and centered in the perspectives of communities of color that are impacted by those policies, by those decisions, by the organizational cultures and behaviors.
Are you confident that some of these conversations are going to continue happening here and move into some of these areas as we see these continued demonstrations? And there seems to be a lot of focus on the elections in November, but beyond November of 2020, how is there going to be change? How is CEI helping some organizations to try and address these topics and make sure that there is this commitment going forward?
Yeah, I think it's within the communities of color that I'm talking about, it's a constant point of conversation of whether this is going to last or not. So here's what I could say, like from our vantage point. Right now, we're working with well over 40 organizations, both locally and nationally. And I think we really feel like our role in a lot of ways is to be a resource for organizations and individuals who are interested in being a part of the solution and finding a way forward to what we're currently experiencing. So in other words, we want to be a bridge into this work for organizations and individuals who want more than just learning, but want to be able to apply that learning within the spaces that they're in. And we also want at the same time to be able to space for communities of color to have their experiences seen, heard, understood. and validated in a way that they've kind of long been dismissed.
Yeah, well, this is a process that we're continuing to watch as it,
Yeah.
develops, and it does seem like we are going to see some sort of actual change in these times. So, thank you, Hanif, for all the work that you are doing and the Center for Equity and Inclusion. And of course, if people want more information about that work, we're going to put a link to your organization's website on KOIN.com. Thank you for joining us.